In this lesson video, I'm going to show you how to complete the second page of the career research document that you've been working on. Now, in order to complete this particular page, you might need to be a little bit more creative. So just pay close attention to my instructions and feel free to gather information from other sources if you have a hard time finding it on the Virtual Job Shadow website. So just to give you an idea, the second page is a lot about the education and training that's going to be required for your particular career of interest, as well as how much somebody in that particular career might make in several different states. So for this first part on education or training, you're going to find the information that you need on the Virtual Job Shadow website. So I'm going to go ahead and log in again. And once again, since I have saved the career I'm interested in my careers, I can just go to careers, my careers, and click right on the career that I favorited. And you'll notice that one of the tabs on the left-hand side here actually says required education. So that's the tab I'm going to go to find the bulk majority of the information for this part of the assignment. Now this may require a little bit of reading. Feel free to read it yourself, have somebody read it to you, or utilize the screen reader that's built into your computer in order to read some of this information. But basically what I'm looking for in this first section is what degrees, licenses, or certifications are required and how long might they take? Now the website itself doesn't necessarily tell you exactly how long it might take. And so this is where that page 2 instructions that you can find on Canvas really come in handy because I kind of outline about how long each program may take. Okay. Specifically for a special education teacher, it looks like all states require them to have at least a bachelor's degree. And so that's what I would put in the document here. At the very least, a bachelor's degree is required. Okay. Then you might wonder how long would that take? If you're not sure, again, you can Google it, look at my instructions that are there on Canvas, or maybe perhaps you know that a bachelor's degree typically takes 4 years to obtain. So I'm looking for 4 years there. An associate's degree, about 2 years, or any program certification usually takes about 2 years. So but a bachelor's degree typically takes 4 years, and for teachers, it could sometimes take even longer because they also have to get a teaching license. So they also have to get a teaching license for their particular state, which may take additional time. The program I went through at Utah State actually provided me with both a bachelor's degree and a teaching license in 4 years, but that's pretty rare nowadays. And I have to tell you, it's a lot of work to complete in 4 years. So typically you can expect about 5 years for teaching. If you're looking at a master's degree, that's 5+ years, okay? A doctor, so if you want to be a doctor or a dentist or something medical related, that would take even additional time beyond that. So just pay close attention to what that is. Are there other requirements that are needed? This is a little bit harder for some people to figure out because again, here it talks about licenses, certifications, and registrations on this particular career or additional training. In the case of a special education teacher, something that's required, well, really of any teacher, an additional requirement is to have a clean background. So you have to be able to pass a background check and have no felonies on your record. And then also additionally, usually there's some training. A lot of times that's offered as part of the education, but usually you need 1 to 2 years of real classroom experience in order to be hired on as an actual teacher. So there's some other requirements. Sometimes there's age requirements for particular jobs, or maybe height requirements, or you have to be able to lift a certain amount of weight. So those are just those kind of requirements that I want you to be thinking about because it's not always just a degree that's needed for a career. The next thing to look at are some schools that offer that particular degree or training, as well as the costs. Tuition just means cost. And so I'm going to come back up here, and the Virtual Job Shadow website actually includes some stuff in this college search tab here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And again, by no means do you only have to look here. You can see at the very top, I can select a particular state. In this case, it's already selected Utah, and it's kind of listed some of the big colleges or universities that are here in Utah. Again, this might be a little more difficult for those of you that are searching for a career that maybe only needs a certification or some type of license. because it's going to tend to list big universities and stuff. You can see again, all of these are either private or public, and they're usually 4 years or more. Okay. But let's just say I want to select Utah State University. You would click on that. It's going to open up in a new tab, and you can see right here it lists the tuition is $6,800. So I would go to my document here and say I looked at Utah State University because that's a school that offers the special education training I need, and it costs about $6,800. Okay, don't forget that tuition figure, that's important. You can also kind of scroll down a little bit too and see more specific, like in-state versus out-of-state. You can see out-of-state, it's about $20,000, which is quite a bit more than that $5,800. Okay. You could also go back and click on different colleges. Try to close that tab there. Or even select another state if there's perhaps another state that you know you're interested in going to school in. But California has like a large list. But here's Sacramento City College, which is a 2-year community college. And again, we could find, if we absolutely had to, we could find, hopefully, some tuition figures. Again, it's not listed right here, so Virtual Job Shadow wouldn't really help us too much, but that's where you would come over here and say you were interested in maybe going to BTech here in Cache Valley. You could Google BTech tuition, and usually the Wikipedia entry will have a pretty good listing. So right here, undergraduate tuition and fees. If you want to be super certain that that's the right amount, I would recommend going to the school's website. But for right now, since we're not really researching colleges or trade schools or post-secondary opportunities, I'm totally fine if you just take the figure right from Google. So 3280. Because again, our main focus here is careers. But this is just to get you thinking about what schools might offer the training that you need for that particular career, as well as about how much they might cost. Okay, the next part's a little trickier, where I need you to find average salary information for your career of interest. You're going to go to this website right here, which is the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, and you can see there's a map of the United States. And so we might have noticed on the career research document, there's 3 different spots here, 1, 2, 3. And so I want you to pick 3 different states that you may be interested in living in, or 3 different states that you've heard of. Totally fine. I'd recommend starting off with Utah, since that's the state in which you live. You click on Utah, you're going to see several different career clusters, and they don't exactly match what's on Virtual Job Shadow. So this is where maybe you'll need to ask an aide for help, or get kind of, or fellow student, or get kind of creative. But for example, I know that teaching falls under educational instruction and library occupations. So I can click on that guy right there, and it's going to take me to that particular cluster. And then all of this is post-secondary, right, which is after high school. So that's college teachers. Scrolling down, still post-secondary, except special education, secondary school teachers, but again, except special ed. Oh, here's some of the special ed. So preschool, elementary, middle, and secondary. I'm talking about secondary, right? High school special ed. And I'm going to look all the way over here at this figure right here. Boom. That's the average salary. So $42,830. So right here in my document, I would put Utah as the state, and I would put $42,800 per year is the average salary. Okay. Another way to do this on the BLS website, if you're having trouble figuring out exactly what cluster it belongs to, is to just use the search feature. Sorry, and make sure you don't search here, but just search the particular page, which usually is function F3, I believe, on most computers. It's actually different on the one I happen to be currently working on, so that doesn't work. But if you're not sure, you could go, especially my Chromebook folks, you could search how to search a web page on Chromebook. And it would tell you, that, okay, Command F on a Mac, or okay, Control F. So if I do Control F, I can see I have this little search bar now, and I can search for special education. And look, that's narrowed it down to 8 results, which is a lot easier. For some of you, you're definitely going to want to do this if your career is hard to classify and get in a particular cluster. But again, once you've done all of that, you can scroll back up to the top and go back to the map again and pick maybe a different state, like say California. And once you've figured out where it's at in the page, it'll be easy to find because it's pretty much in the same spot for every state. So once again, I would click on educational instruction, and I know it's about a little bit of the way down. Again, here's special education teachers, secondary school, and I'm looking at that figure right there. So $83,000. quite a bit more in California, but also cost of living is higher. So you're going to input those 3 figures and states of your choosing. Once you get to this part at the bottom that says national average, I just want you to Google that. And this is how you're going to do that. You'll say national average salary for, and then you'll put the career that you're interested in, being as specific as possible. And then I'm totally fine if you just input the top amount right here. I can actually see that I'll probably be able to trust this because if I look down here, this came from the BLS.gov website, which is exactly what we were just looking at. So I'd put that 61,030 figure rate right here. And then that would be good for filling out page 2 of the document. Again, requires a little bit more creativity and thought in some areas. But if you have any issues, feel free to reach out or get help from somebody else in the class.